All right, good morning. 59 minutes after 9. Yeah, I'm running a little behind today. Surprise. How you guys doing? Everyone good? Everyone good? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, of course. Wednesday. It seems like a really long week already, though. That's because we're all getting back into our routines, right? Hello to Travis. Hello to Les. I agree, Les. It's always good to see other regulars back here on the blog. Appreciate everybody. Anyone on Twitch right now? Let's see. Usually we get some Twitch folks in there. Don't see anybody right now. A lot of YouTubers, Facebook. Sometimes we get someone on X every once in a while. Good morning from Big Clifty. How you doing, Teresa? All right, guys. I'm going to keep this relatively to the point because you guys know the game plan. You've been watching every day this week so far. You know what we're up against on the features with our storm system. So let's knock out what you normally do at this time, and that is the snowboard. And that really hasn't changed a whole lot, and it's not going to, really. Snow showers this weekend. That looks to be more late Saturday night into Sunday. Still on the table. That's good. Does look minor. Don't get too excited. We get into next week. A lot of small systems that drop down. Some questions on whether or not they can slow down to phase into something bigger, or they be more of a clipper-like system. Good question. I don't know, and I can't imagine anybody else would, because there's not enough data yet. But we do know that it is a noisy signal that passes through roughly around the 14th to 16th. Again, just days after that, 18th to the 21st. And then again on the 23rd to the 26th. That's a lot of chances that show up. It does trend colder and colder as the month wears on. That's why I mainly listed the last one as a snow issue or not versus the others being rain to snow or rain or snow. And they could still all be snow, but I think right now a little too early, of course. We'll come back around to all that and more in just a few minutes. Let's cover, though, the short term, which is going to be more of a storm talk type of scenario because we do have an active setup coming our way. But I will say we are going to get the tamer version of what's heading in our direction, which is a good thing if you're worried about any type of damaging weather or anything like that. Outside, yeah, gloomy out, right? A little bit of patchy fog in some spots, low clouds in others. It just depends where you're at. Got a little bit of blue, though, that is showing up in the sky. So we're going to get some sun shining here soon. More of a partly cloudy type of setup today. Temperatures a bit chilly out there in the lower 40s, some 30s still at this hour. You can see this morning the low bank of clouds and some of that again being some fog, depending on elevation, because these clouds are only a couple hundred feet off the ground. So especially in higher elevations, you are right in the fog bank. But certainly would hold on for another hour or two, and then we'll see this all just kind of dissolve. You can already see hints of that on the visible satellite where it's starting to break up. Today is going to be another quiet one for us. So where is our storm system that we're watching? Well, it's the twinsies that are coming our way for the end of the week. Well, not here, not in the Midwest, but still out here into areas of Arizona, into the Baja Peninsula. That's where our first one will rotate in, and it'll pass through roughly right over Illinois, Indiana, and race into the eastern side there of Ontario. The second one's going to roll in, but a bit more to the east. That one's going to track right over Kentucky and then head off sharply to the north into areas near Montreal. So they're near the same path that they take, only about 12 hours apart from one another. But the important thing to note, as we've been discussing, is that there's still that shift, though, that happens with the second one, more to the south and east. That is important. That will take the majority of your severe risk in that direction as well. If we saw the trend the other way, if the second one was actually trending more west of us, say it came out of Texas, but then it suddenly trended towards St. Louis and then to Chicago, well, that would be a different story. That would increase our severe potential for the end of the week. But right now, the far eastern idea is winning out and most of the trends. We haven't got high res into it yet, but I think we're close enough now that confidence is pretty high on that southeast shift for the second one. The first one, no doubt, will probably be, if there's any severe risk, I think that one probably be the one to watch. Okay, we'll break it down for you. Let's start with the severe risk today. That's going to be down across areas, the Central Plains, Red River Valley, down into Texas, Oklahoma. Tomorrow, this is all marginal. Marginal again tomorrow for the Ozarks, St. Louis, getting into that warm sector with the first system. And then as we get into the second system, you see the shift that happens because your mind's thinking, okay, well, if it's all marginal here, then it's all going to be marginal or slight risk in the Ohio Valley next, because that's typically how we see these outlooks go in a sequential way, right, as they move across the country. But this one has a shift to the south, and it's because that second one will have the more pronounced warm sector for the Tennessee Valley versus the Ohio River Valley. Still, we got a marginal outs in our southern tier of counties, as there could be enough warmth, especially a modest amount of heating, that some of these cells, especially Friday afternoon, could build into our southeast side here. That's possible, but I haven't seen anything too alarming yet on some of the soundings. But we'll come around to that in a second. Let's walk you through first the short-term phrase of this. This is going to be the system number one, the one that's going to move in more west of our area, which would carry some thunderstorms. We will start to feel the effects of this as early as tomorrow morning. Now, the warm front, when it passes by, you will know it, because not only will temperature start to climb, the wind will pick up, and there will be a few showers with that too as it moves on by. However, especially the HERT model is a bit more delayed on bringing that warm front in more until after the lunch hour instead of before the lunch hour. So that's a bit of a change. So that could cause more of a spike in the rain chance in the afternoon versus the morning. We'll see. It's going to be minor. I will say that. It's going to be just quick. Boom, moves in and moves out. Again, the wind ramps up in behind that, and you get into the warmer flow of air into the 60s. And we'll stay warm all night. I don't know if we're going to drop below 60, in fact, for all Thursday night. So your furnaces, again, get a nice little break. And speaking of, by the way, I have a dandelion. I don't know if you guys notice any of this in your yard. I have a dandelion growing in my front yard right now. I don't think I've ever seen it this early in the season. I need to get it to Harriet. She loves dandelions. Okay, we get into Thursday evening. Now, this is what we call like a messy warm sector, where it's indicating a lot of noise here. The reason why it's doing that is that after the warm front moves by, the warm front's over here at this point now, is that it's trying to build up enough heating that there could be isolated cells that will try to fire Thursday evening. Now, that's interesting. That's interesting. There's not a ton of wind energy yet aloft. That moves in later Thursday night, but in the evening hours, perhaps if it does get enough heating, if we get any sun breaks at all, I could see that being possible, but I'm not sold on the heating part right now, especially by the time it gets to 9 p.m. But not ignoring it. We'll watch this and babysit it. I still think the main show for this system number one is going to be late Thursday night into the morning drive Friday. And you'll see the line get organized into Illinois, back into West Kentucky during the night. And then as we get toward rush hour, it does weaken. Excuse me. It does weaken, but it moves in right at that point again when everyone's hitting the road. So far, the rainfall rate looks manageable for the morning drive. If we see that rate increase more, that may cause some concern for a lot of accidents. But as you guys know, in general, a rainy morning, especially a rainy Friday morning, can be a mess. So just keep this in the back of your mind. You may want to leave a little early on Friday, and we'll keep an eye on it. But this hasn't changed a lot on timing, to be honest. It's been aiming for Friday morning for a while. Your severe potential. Wind fields are certainly impressive at this point, Thursday night, early Friday, but it's at our solar minimum. So we don't have enough fuel to really build up these thunderstorms to a big enough height to tap into some of those stronger wind fields. Now, that's just going by modeling, though. We haven't got fully into the system, and we certainly don't have a lot of high res. This is the first high res model to even see the event. And as of right now, it hasn't thrown any CAPE or fuel into the mix, but it's still early. We'll see what the future runs do today and certainly tomorrow. But if even small amounts get added into the mix, then that could lead to a little bit more of a severe issue, even without lightning. But at the moment, I don't see any red flags here of concern other than it just being a busy Friday. All right, that's system number one. Now, that's where the short range model ends. So what I'm going to do now is switch you guys over to a more wider range here and look to the system so I can explain how the second one will evolve. So here is the Euro now. showing that band Friday morning right along the Ohio River. Again, modeling short range and long range both show basically the same look here. So that is why confidence is high on the late Thursday night, early Friday evolution of this. And the severe risk, again, low as a result. But once this moves out during the day on Friday, this is where things get a little interesting for some areas because we move the clouds out. There are some hints that the sun may try to come out somewhere in Indiana, northern Kentucky during the day on Friday. It could be tough because there's going to be a lot of action going on down here in the deep south. So you're going to have a Cirrus deck that is going to be flying off of this bad boy, and that's going to be flying overhead. So while the models may show that the cumulus clouds in the lower layers of the atmosphere may break up, there may be another deck of clouds way above it that the modeling's not picking up well. And that can still block enough sun and heating to tame things down. Otherwise, that's just a minor issue. It could make or break a difference between whether or not we hit 66 or even 70 on Friday. I think 70 is reachable Friday, and especially if we were to get some of those breaks. But in general, even with a cloudy sky, we're thinking about 65 to 68. So that's not bad. That's not bad. And again, several hours of dry time after that morning rush band of rain that will disintegrate, head off to the east. Then we get this break. Now here comes system number 2 on the way. Remember, its track is going to be a little more right over us versus the previous one that'll be moving in tomorrow night is going to be a little more to the northwest. Fair enough. I think you guys are aware of that. So let's track it. So here it is moving in. And because of that track, you're going to get your best instability in your fuel right there on the southeast side. They're going to be facing the same issue, though, in Tennessee down into the deep south, though, that being into the evening overnight. So they're going to be still with limited fuel. But it moves in with rain and thunder and then some showers on Thursday. This part of the system, though, there's a little bit of a dip right here. I know it looks odd, this big donut hole, if you will. This is your actual temperature change boundary that's moving in. So this is the one that will bring in some showers Thursday afternoon, or excuse me, Saturday afternoon. So many days in the week. We need to cut down like 1 or 2. Anyway, Saturday, we get some showers to move in. These could actually start to mix in with some ice pellets or grapple as we get into Saturday evening. I keep wanting to say Thursday. That'll eventually go to snowflakes as another little little piece that we talked about, loop-de-loop, rolls right in here and gives us some snow showers there on Sunday. That looks to be minor. Okay, so let me show you where we are with the analogs and the AI CSU stuff here. The analogs here for mainly for the Friday event, all south. CSU really is tamed down compared to what it had a couple of days ago. I mean, again, I had us as the bullseye, right? Yeah, not anymore. And then you can see SBC's take on the whole thing, which looks fair. So again, nothing alarming there on the severe side. All right, your snow showers. Well, these can be the type that can really impact visibility more than anything because it will be a windy setup for late Saturday into Sunday. Cold wind too, wind chills in the 20s all day. Sunday's going to be a day you're probably going to want to just stay in bed all day because we haven't had too many cold days as of late. This one's going to get your attention. And the snow showers mainly for the morning on Sunday. So if you're heading out to services early on Sunday, you'll have more of the snow shower activity than anywhere else. Any other part of the day, I should say. With the wind, a lot of this will blow around, but you got to keep in mind we've been quite warm for a while there. You see wavy with the power outage there. 40 customers in Trimble County. This is going to blow around, but also we've been warm, so a lot of this is going to melt because of the warm ground. And temperatures will get above freezing during the day on Sunday. So as far as travel impacts, not seeing it. Other than maybe visibility, but that's going to be minor overall. But as far as slick roads, icy roads, and 2 inches of snow on the ground, this is not the kind of system that can do that, nor do we have the right environment in our area, in our terrain right now to support it. So it's more of festive flakes, if you will. But you could see the rooftop, grassy areas, the corner of your car. Yeah, briefly, they could have a light accumulation. Wouldn't rule it out. And we'll monitor it. All right, so that moves on out of here. Then we get into a small break early next week. Here comes the next dive down. Again, this is all about timing. And see, the Euro still doesn't know what to do here. This southern piece still just a hair faster than the one diving in. So they're a little disjointed. So because of that, you really deal with the northern feature than you do the southern one. So it gets messy because your rain snow line is starting to shift south of us Wednesday night. So it could be rain or snow. You can see that it's trying to phase. It probably will eventually phase somewhere into the northeast or Nova Scotia. So it's on its path to phase. But if it phases sooner than what it looks here, then we'll have a bigger system here for next week. But as of now, they look disjointed enough in timing that it looks to be a light event and marginal on snow and rain, especially during the daytime periods. Don't have a lot of time to rest, though, because as you saw on the snowboard, the dates are close together. So here we go, right into the end of next week, into that weekend. Very similar setup, although you don't see a southern branch feature here, right? So this is mainly an Arctic front that is settling south. But sometimes these fronts, if they slow down enough, you can develop a low pressure somewhere along it that can be a southern tracker. So these can be fun. So these have a tendency to produce some wintry weather when they arrive along the Arctic front. And then because it lingers and then you get a new system that forms on the front, then it produces another round of wintry weather a couple of days later. So all really from the same setup that takes place. So that's the reason why we get into the middle and portion of January, it gets really messy, really hard to track them all down because they're all going to have different setups. Some will be clippers, some will be Arctic fronts with Arctic snow, some will be fully phased winter storms, and maybe a mix of all three. Not an easy forecast, but if you're a snow lover, at least it's not showing 70 and 80 degrees for the rest of January and certainly into February. So you got that on your side, right, snow lovers? All right, there's the matrix for today. Ooh, all right, getting a little noisier, right? Not quite showing up and locking in on a day yet. Not surprising, given what I just showed you. There's so much going on, moving parts here. It just doesn't know where to put where. But yeah, there are a couple little spikes in those colors, which gets your attention. But don't worry about that yet. Let's try to get this filled in, all the Ensemble members on a particular date, and then our confidence will start to go up on that particular setup as well. Okay, let's get into the 10-day. See what questions you got there. Let's see. Tornado threat on Friday. Tornado threat for Friday morning's commute with the tail in the front. That's probably the only time I would see it being an issue, if at all. And right now, it's too low. And the wind fields are basically southwest at the ground level all the way up. So that's what we call a unidirectional flow, which is not really a tornado threat, but it's more of a damaging wind threat. So as of right now, it's extremely low, but we'll watch it. I mean, we got to change the lower layers of the atmosphere on that wind. We'll change things up, and I'm not seeing that signal yet, which is good. Let's see. Any other questions? James, is going to rain all day? Nope. No all day rain on Thursday. Just showers with the warm front, and then maybe some spotty downpours in the evening that could pop, but they will be very off and on. The highest rain chance would be late Saturday or Thursday night into early on Friday. Brian, do you believe that the AI models are verifying better on the long range stuff than the models we've had for years? Good question. I've been looking at them, Les, but I haven't. And what Les is referring to, there are AI models of the Euro and the GFS now that are out, and their parameters are a little different, but they, I would say they've been a little more aggressive with the cold than the actual models have been. But you got to keep in mind too that this is the first winter we're really having these AI models fully accessible to the public. So a lot of people are looking at them for the first time. So there's a lot of unknowns yet on how well the track record is going to be. I think how this evolves this winter, I don't think you take one storm and say it's done well. I think you need to look at the entire season to see how well it handles blocking patterns, how well it handles cold air attacks, ridges, that type of setup. That's what I'm really interested in AI models, is how well does it sniff those types of patterns out. But the one-offs and individual storm systems, I don't think it's fair to hold any model really accountable for that. I'm more a pattern recognition type of mentality. So Les, we'll know more after the winter and be able to really answer your question a little easier. I just don't want to get too ahead of myself because I've seen plus and minuses so far on what it's been doing, if that helps. Okie dokie. What happened to the vacation beard? Well, I didn't have it. I got rid of it before I came back. Trust me, you guys know at one point I had my vacation beard, just beard in general, but it was also a black beard. It's all mainly gray now, and it's not. I'm getting a complex, so I know you just dye it. Doesn't want to say you just dye it. No, I don't think that looks better at all. So once I'm completely white-headed and then the beard, yeah, maybe I'll pull off a Wolf Blitzer at some point, but not anytime soon. All right, guys, gonna run. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day today, and we'll start to gear up with the active radar starting tomorrow on the blog. So make sure to tune in, and we'll see how these snow chances evolve in the coming days. Take care, guys.